So this movie is called Prisoners of the Sun, and it is an average Egyptian mummy movie that you can find on Tubi, which is what I wanted. And from what I'll say about the movie is that the movie's a pretty good movie. It has a coherent story, it has good cinematography. Well, some parts of the story aren't coherent, but for example, like if you look at the cover of the movie, one of those characters is wearing a hat like Indiana Jones, and he never wears like a fedora at all throughout the movie. So that's just a joke anyway. But the main point of the movie is about two professors. One is named Levitz. The other guy, I don't even think they specify his name. So I'm just gonna call him Stern because he has a stern voice. So, anyways, Professor Levitz and Professor Stern, they both want to get into the tomb, into the pyramid. They call it the Pyramid of Dawn. So, one of them wants to discover the secrets of Egypt, the origin of it, which is Professor Stern. And Levitz is just kind of portrayed as the more greedy professor who just wants to get whatever treasure that's hidden in the tomb. And there's like some other minor characters. There's an Egyptian tour guide named Saeed. There's a Indian professor who's named Rohit. And there's this Egyptian girl. And the Egyptian girl is supposed to be descended from Osiris or something like that. And that's where the plot starts getting a little messy because it's not easy to track somebody to being descended to someone from ancient times. That's the first thing. The second thing is some characters are just there and they don't, they're there and they're part of the cast and it's okay, but they don't really have very, very important roles. For example, there's well, I'll just leave it at that. And another thing about the movie is you only get to see mummy action where the people are actually running and fighting from the mummies, like at the last 30 minutes of the movie. That's kind of a missed opportunity if you're gonna make a mummy movie about Egypt and the pyramids and mummies. You'd think that the mummies would show up sooner in the movie. But when you do get to that last 30 minutes, there is tension while the cast is exploring the pyramid, and some of them are falling into traps, some of them are fighting with each other. There's tension that builds up, but ultimately, the end of the movie, you're just kind of left. Uh, the end of the movie is not very satisfying, and I don't want to spoil it. Like, you don't really get a very strong conclusion to the end of the movie. It's just like, oh, you know, the heroes escape the pyramid and then that's it. It's not. There's some things that the movie does not explain. And also, the movie also moves very fast because it's 1 hour and 27 minutes long, you know. So, there's time constraints. Like, for example, I had to rewatch this movie again, and you actually see in the beginning of the movie the professor's cane being stolen, and that's the plot device in the movie. So, anyways, that's all, and that's it for my review.